Great. Let's see here. Close that up. Ah, okay, well. Okay, so first of all, thank you to everybody for coming. This is as you know, the first time that we have done a online version of EPIQ, which is kind of epic. All of you, obviously, I probably don't have to tell you, how crazy this year has been for probably everyone across the globe. Whether or not to run the conference was like a big to-do, but I'm super, super pleased that we've been able to put everything together for everyone for this year. So, so what are we doing? Oops. Oh, I don't know. There was echo. Sorry. So what are we doing this year? Well, generally at EPIQ, we all practice computer science together. That's kind of what we do. We are continuing a community of people that are all using some similar technologies. And we, spend a lot of time helping anybody that wants to learn how to invent software. And that's part of especially in high school, computer science for all, but also some university classes and stuff like that as well. If you aren't familiar with EPIQ at all, it started about 10 years ago. No, this is the 11th one. When it first started, it was only for a few people that are blind or visually impaired. I was actually super pleased that one of those students is actually here this year. That just totally blows me away. And we also did it to start developing a programming language eventually based on evidence, which is a whole long story that I spend way too much time talking about as it is. And that became, over time, the Quorum programming language. And then, of course, collaborating with people is the best way to find out the 10,000 ways that you're doing your documentation and tutorials wrong. And that has helped over the last 10 years make everything better and better every year as we go on. So in terms of the actual conference itself, it's got pretty healthy participation. It looks like we're going to hit very similar numbers this year, despite the fact that it's online. Although I don't have those finalized quite yet, but we've grown pretty much every year, and in terms of the conference. But more than that, in terms of the programming language, we have way more users than I think people realize. So in 2009, in the very first class, to the best of my recollection, there were 5 sort of very brave blind students that were willing to participate. And there was 2 sort of ridiculously brave teachers and 1 very brave school, the Washington State School for the Blind, that was willing to do stuff. At the time, Quorum had basically nothing. There were no games, there was no graphics library, there was no music, there was no Legos. Everything kind of sort of worked, but not really. There was no documentation at all, and there was no website. There was no lessons or anything. But somehow, those teachers magically made it work, in part because I think a lot of the people in the community just really cared, and we wanted it to work over time. But let's contrast it with today. So every year, the number of users using Quorum has effectively doubled or close to it. So this year, we now, to the best of my knowledge, have 103,000 users online, which is more than I ever would have imagined for the site. That includes, since June 2017, people have written 418,515 Quorum programs online, which just blows me away. Besides that, although nothing is perfect, Quorum nowadays has super rich libraries for many kinds of applications. The compiler is pretty dang solid and reliable. Nothing's perfect, but it works pretty well. There's rich documentation of tons and tons and tons of libraries, including a computer science principles curriculum, which in the United States is sort of our accreditation board for high school. And we're included formally through the College Board for that nowadays. And there's also nowadays a brand new Quorum Studio 2.0, which has this thing called accessible scene editing, which we'll talk about throughout the whole conference. And we're still working our butts off. I mean, trying to make all of software development and graphics and all this kind of stuff because it's accessible is a big ask. It's pretty tough, especially for a small team. But we are putting in a ton of time on it to try to help the community, and hopefully that shows over long periods of time. So let's talk really quickly about like sort of who is helping to do this stuff, like what we're doing. So first of all, there's the steering committee. This is myself. I'm at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. Andy Stefik. Everybody calls me Stefik. There's Dania Borowski. She's at the Washington State School for the Blind. Ironically, their school is supposed to host this year, other than that pesky virus getting in the way. Melinda Hudson, she's at the Texas School for the Blind. She helped arrange the Texas version of EPIQ a few years ago and has been just amazing. Sina Baram, he owns a company called Prime Access Consulting. He's actually doing tremendous work with museums and all sorts of stuff with accessibility. Sam Shaw works at Digital Operative. He's been doing a lot of the emails and stuff like that. He's an awesome dude. And Sarah Larkin is on the steering committee now as well, and she's also ridiculously amazing. Okay. Besides that, we've also got a fantastic curriculum committee, and I really have to hand it to them this year because holy crap, did they spend a lot of time tweaking stuff to try to make EPIQ go this year. So although I wrote a good chunk of the new EPIQ curriculum, they made it infinitely better than what I would have imagined. And so especially thanks to them this year. That's Amanda Rada at WSSB, Tim Lockwood at the Nebraska Center, Ko Inamura, he's at Lincoln Public Schools, Jill Dunaway is in Alabama, Gina Fugate's at the Maryland School, and Steve Rapparelli is at Seattle Public Schools. So thank you to you guys for sure. And then there's my team in Vegas. There's 4 of us here this year. If you have been with us in previous years, there was 2 other students that are both graduated now. There's Patrick Delighten finished his PhD, as did Merlin Uzbek, now Drews. But this year there's me, William Ali, he's the full-time lead on Quorum Studio especially. Tim Cluthy is a PhD student. He's actually doing the data science related work. There's Jeremy Robb, he's an undergraduate that's actually visiting us this summer. I mean, virtually visiting us, I guess. And Tim Rafalski most of the time goes, but he can't make it this year, so he's not with us, but he is still in the lab as well. Because I get asked every year, I will mention very briefly the license again for Quorum. Quorum's under the BSD license. You can use it for whatever you please. Commercial, non-commercial use, whatever you want, that's fine. Source code's freely available for Quorum. You can modify or use it however you damn well please, that's fine. The curriculum and documentation is all under the Creative Commons license. That means if you contribute to the curriculum, you're putting it under Creative Commons. And when we do it too. So it's sort of like, it's a way the whole community can kind of band together, make stuff better for everybody. You can modify or use it any way you want. The only limitation on the curriculum is you can't just like download it and then sell it and then take all the cash because you didn't write it. But we put it up for free at no cost for everybody. So, oops, why is that not going? Okay, there we go. So funding. So funding for EPIQ is interesting. We will talk about funding more on the Thursday meeting that we have. But generally speaking, we usually get some cash from the National Science Foundation. There are 2 universities involved, the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and the University of Washington. The Quorum Outreach and Research Foundation, that's our nonprofit that we run all the money through. That's auditable, and you can look at the finances and stuff if you want. Delta Gamma Foundation is actually a sorority. For whatever reason, they've been helping fund us every year, which is really nice of them. And there's Prime Access Consulting often does stuff, and a ton of schools and individual people either donate or they help us in some way, or they give like free housing or whatever it is. A lot of the schools out there have just been truly amazing partners. I can't thank all of them enough. I want to mention too, and it's on the slide, even though we can't be there in person, I want to personally thank the Washington State School for the Blind. Even though we couldn't be there because, you know, pesky reality, you know, they went out of their way. They had offered to pay for everything. They had done like free housing, food, all sorts of stuff offered, and then it ended up not being needed because of Corona, but I could not thank them enough for the contributions that they've made to the community and for everybody, really. Okay, so let's get to the stuff that people probably really care about, and that is what the heck are we doing this year and what's new and what's cool. So this year, I'm really pleased to announce that we've got a brand new version now out of beta, although, you know, nothing's magic, called Quorum Studio 2.0. It has in it some stuff that is, I think, really cool. The most one that people are probably, I suspect many people are excited about, is called scene editing. This was kind of inspired in my head by a technology called Unity 3D, which is like a super highly graphical and programming environment, and it's never been accessible. But I was just thinking I might be able to invent something with a team of to make a technology like that accessible. And this is the first version where I think we've done it, and like it's not magic, but it's a huge step forward, and I'm really excited to both have people try it and get feedback on it so we can make it even better in the future. Number two, we've also got Git support, and that's new in Quorum Studio 2. There's Quorum 8 support, which I won't get into all the details, but there's lots of stuff there. We've put in a ton of accessibility improvements. This year, we literally just rewrote our accessibility system for like the 5th time, I think, in part with help from some people at Microsoft that were just worldly helpful in terms of understanding some of the stuff in the hood. Ironically, they even like had some internal libraries that they had open sourced a week before our thing that helped a lot in improving the system. We've been spending a lot of time trying to make Quorum Studio work better on older machines. And so I'm pleased to say that we've got memory and CPU optimizations down way more than ever. So even though it's still a bit of a memory hog, it's way better than it ever has been. And the CPU stuff is much better as well. This year we've got automatic updates. So that's like, you know, being able to just update the thing automatically. And I think we counted about 300 bug fixes since last year. And this is just like, mostly comes from all the feedback that people give over the course of the year of different features they want, tons of accessibility requests, or just whatever we get, we put it on a list, and then we prioritize based on what we can really do on the team and with the amount of time that we have. So besides that, we've also got the absolutely amazing keynote speaker, Jenna Gorowitz, and I can't see it on, I don't know where the heck my notes are on this. There we are, notes on the slide. Okay, I guess that moved the thing, but so I'll read that really briefly to you just so you know who she is. Jenna Gorowitz received the BS in Mechanical Engineering from Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville in 2008, and the PhD degree in Mechanical Engineering from Vanderbilt in 2013. She is currently faculty in Mechanical Engineering at St. Louis University, where she directs the Collaborative Haptics, Robotics, and Mechatronics Chrome Lab. Her Firefox wasn't available, you see. And her research interests are in haptic and multimodal interfaces, learning interfaces, medical devices, engineering education, and entrepreneurship. Her lab brings together anthropologists, psychologists, practitioners, and engineers to solve challenging information access problems. Dr. Gorowitz received the National Science Foundation Career Award in 2019 and is leading a new initiative at SLU centered around people and technology horizon. She's also the co-founder of an educational technology company, Vital, whose mission is to bring heightened accessibility to digital graphics and STEM education. And I should say as well, I'm super excited that she was willing to come talk, because I think the work Jenna does is just ridiculously fantastic. My slide. So I'm super pleased to get to have her here to come talk to everybody. Okay. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about logistics. So first of all, this year we changed EPIQ a lot because it's all online and we wanted to try to make the best experience we could. And so there are 2 tracks like there have been historically, but they're the same. They're just going to go at different speeds, we suspect. And so there's a learner track and an advanced track. Both of them do all new curriculum based on the scene editor and some programming. And they'll be doing scene editing, accessibility work, some gaming stuff, and also just computer science broadly. But you can go to either of them. They're doing the same content, but the learner track will probably go a little bit slower or be like focus on different things that that group wants, and the advanced group might have different like needs or wants and stuff. So we want to delineate them, but you can go to either one. The advanced group will be in a breakout room. So we'll need to know which of you want to be in the advanced group once we get to that time of the day. And oh, and you should put that in Slack whenever you want to. So for in terms of the actual conference, EPIQ, if you aren't aware, has 3-year terms for all leadership positions. We elect them because that sounds like a good idea, so the community has a voice. This year, there's only one steering committee position open, and that is Melinda Hudson's position. She is not termed out, but she has to drop, unfortunately, because her job has changed a little bit. So we'll have one position open this year that you can run for. If you'd like to run for the position, there's no rules. If you're at EPIQ, you're eligible. And so that means that you have to run, and that's on Thursday during the administrative meeting. Anyone's eligible. I would encourage anyone that wants to do it to go for it. That position on the steering committee, basically what happens during the fall, it's usually like once a month or so we get together to talk about logistics for the coming year. And then in the spring, it's usually similar. It involves, sending emails to the community, putting up schedules, trying to figure out the details. The steering committee right now is awesome. I really love that group. So, if you want to join up and be with an awesome group, go for it. It's a lot of fun. So this year there's also curriculum committee, and there are no open positions this year. I think they term out, some of them term out next year, if I recall. So there's no positions this year, but unless someone drops that I don't know about. But that's that. Like I said, you go to the administrative meeting. That one is our sort of internal silly joke, which is at the night we have a social setting, and that one on Thursday is called 4i greater than dink semicolon minimum semicolon hic parentheses.
Partners and what cost structure would make it possible for them to grow the business.
What happened there? I'm going to mute.
This is for the chemistry.
I have no idea what just happened. Sorry. Okay. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about sort of like the etiquette and sort of like what we're going to do for this, for the week. The goal after looking at all the different online tools and stuff is to put up sessions online afterward. But in terms of cost, it was easier to put them up after EPIQ was done. So we're going to take any of the Zoom recordings. We're going to be recording any of the sessions while we're there. And that means that we're going to close caption them and then put them on as part of a teacher track so that we have those videos up and people can learn from them. We're going to do it after EPIQ is over. That means, though, if you don't want to be on camera, just feel free to turn your camera off, and that's okay, not a problem. If you don't want to ask questions and have them be on the recording, that's okay too. You can also put written questions in Slack, and that would be not a problem. If you're in a session and you're not speaking, we'd appreciate it if you mute your microphone, just so that because there's a lot of us, that will sort of keep the line noise down for any of the sessions. And obviously you have to be EPIQ in general, and I think all of us already qualify for that. Besides that, there's also Slack. And Slack, if you aren't aware, everyone should have gotten, in theory, should have gotten an email of the invitation to the Quorum Slack channel. And the idea is, even though you can use the Zoom chat, we would prefer everybody uses the Slack chat so that everybody can see it, no matter the breakout room or that kind of stuff. And also, the other crucial thing is it'll be easier for the steering committee if we don't have to monitor, like Twitter and Slack and email and Zoom and all this kind of stuff. So, but there are some tricky things with Slack. Screen reader support does work, but it is a little, like, it takes some domain knowledge. So if you have questions about Slack and you're confused or whatever you need, either just post it wherever you can on Slack or toss it in Zoom, and we'll do our best to try to give you a hand on like what the keyboard shortcuts are and stuff like that. In terms of where to post, you can kind of do what you want, but we made a channel called EPIQ Advanced, and that's for anybody talking on the advanced group. EPIQ Learner, this is for communication on the learner track. And then There's support, and so there's a pound support, and that is for any questions you have, technical questions. Epic wide announcements will be at Epic, and you can just banter in general if you want to, or there's an Epic social as well if you want to toss stuff there. Now, if you don't want to use any of those and it's more comfortable for you to just type stuff in general because you need it, that's okay too. And if there's too many messages for you because everybody's bantering, you can also pause notifications in Slack as well, and that will effectively turn it off so you don't have to listen if people are talking about stuff that you're not interested in a particular channel, stuff like that. Okay, so logistics for today. I already mentioned that there's a learner in advance, that the advance will probably go faster. If you can, once we get there, put which one you want in the Slack so we know whether to move you to a breakout room. The schedule for today next is coming up is Jenna's keynote, and then we're going to do an introduction with more details on Quorum Studio 2. And then we're going to move into our actual hands-on sessions, which is hands-on with Quorum Studio 2 and build a role-playing game. In the afternoon, we have several sessions planned, and they're sort of optional, but we encourage everybody to take advantage of them. Some of them do have different Zoom links, and the schedule does have the full Zoom link with the password in there as well, to the best of my recollection. And there are office hours for that, and they go on different topics. So today's office hour topic is computer science principles. That's kind of US centric and high school centric, but nonetheless, it's an important topic for teachers, especially here. Later we have a social hour, and here's the idea that we had. Whenever we go to Epic, it's kind of fun to be able to meet people in the community and just kind of hang out and have a brew or have dinner or whatever it is. And so we've developed developed is a strong word. We've put together a 1 hour session that on the first day is called one drink minimum. And all that really means is either grab a brew or a water or grab dinner or whatever, and we'll do that together. Nobody has to do that. Of course, it's not required in any way, shape, or form. We all know everybody has busy lives and stuff like that, so do what works for you. But there will probably be a number of us on there that are kind of socializing during that hour, and it will hopefully be fun. So, okay, so that's it for me. I will stop talking now because I'm sure that you'd rather listen to Jenna anyway. And I will, if she's still online, which I hope, we will let her, there she is. We will let her take it away and wow us on all the absolutely ridiculously, utterly, fantastically amazing work that Jenna and her lab and her company does. So I absolutely mean that. That is totally true. And so please, Jenna, rock 'em and sock 'em.